best fit, you will be able to use Desmos. Everything else will be calculator. So starting with the first page, what questions do we have? Want to see? Want to go over? Number 1. You said
Number 4.
So in number 1, we have to find the axis of symmetry and the vertex. We need to remember how to find that using our equation x equals negative b over 2a. This is the equation of the axis of symmetry. Remember that this is in standard form. The number before x squared is a, the number before x is b, and your constant is c. So to find your axis of symmetry, you would put in x equals negative 10 over 2 times negative 1. And then simplify. What would that be? Positive 5. X equals 5. Make sure you have the x equals in there. It is an equation. Then to find your vertex, so I'm going to show this algebraically and then show you again how you could find it in the calculator. Algebraically, we would put this in for all of the x's. I'll do that right here. So this would be y equals negative, in parentheses, 5 squared plus 10 times 5 minus 28. Then you could do that in the calculator. I have to see the setup, but you calculating it could be in the calculator or by hand. Find what that would be. Negative 3. So my vertex would be 5, negative 3. Questions there? I'm going to set up the axis of symmetry for number 4, and then we're going to find it in the calculator. So this would be x equals negative b, but it's already negative, so that would just be positive. You can put plus if you want, or negative, over 2 times 1. What would your axis of symmetry be? X equals 4. In the middle of your table, put 4. Fill out the rest of your x values. So go backwards and forwards. And in your y equals, type in that equation, x squared minus 8x plus 15. Go into your table, second graph, and then you can find those values. Also, if you're looking for just your vertex, your axis of symmetry, if you look at your y values and look where they repeat and find the middle, that would tell you your vertex and axis of symmetry. Fill out the rest of your table. vertex is what? 4 should be -1.
Maybe.
Then you could graph it first and then find domain and range, or you should know that the domain will never change. It will always be all real numbers. But I'll graph it first. When you graph it, you need at least 5 points that can be easily graphed. If it's more than that, that's fine. Domain is your x values left to right. What's your furthest point to the left? What's your furthest point to the right? This keeps going up and left, up and right, so it's all real numbers, or negative infinity to infinity. Put whichever one you remember. Range is lowest to highest. What's the lowest value? -1. In your vertex, that will tell you what your lowest or highest y value is going to be. So it starts at -1 and it keeps going up to infinity, or everything greater than or equal to 1. -1, sorry. Whoa. Zeros or x-intercepts or solutions are, where does it cross the x-axis? Where would that be? You can find that from the graph or from the table. And 5. So you would write that as x equals curly brackets, least to greatest, 3, then 5. Adani, what was your question? Did you not just go? That was the whole point of me letting you go, so you can wait. Rose, what was your question?
Does it matter how you write it on the test?
Or this part?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. Either one. Other questions on this? Sure. And then we're going to move on. So when you set up your axis of symmetry, we don't have B. So that's going to be -0 over 2 times -2. What's your axis of symmetry? What would that simplify to be?
Zero.
So I'm just filling out things I already know. I know 0 is going to be part of my vertex. I know the domain is never going to change. It will always be all real numbers. I'm going to put 0 in the middle and then go backwards and forwards. And then put that equation into y equals and find the rest of my y values. So a lot of these we won't be able to graph, but we have 0, -3, -5, -11. And -21. 0, -3. We can do 1, -5, and -1, -5. I'll do the 11s. It would just be like 1 off the graph. So then your range, lowest to highest, it keeps going down. Where does it stop? -3. So that would be -infinity to -3, or everything less than or equal to 3, -3. Does this cross the x-axis at all? No. So NA, none, doesn't exist, any of those answers. Do not put 0, because that would mean it crosses at 0. On the back, there are your exponential functions. Which of those do we want to see do go over, have questions about? Number 2. Also, cross off the end behavior. We're not doing that. I meant to cross it out. So I know the domain, like your quadratics, is always going to be the same. But I'm going to just list out a small table. Starting with these 5. I'm going to put that into my y equals and find those 5. And if I need more, I'll add in more. Make sure you use the caret or the top hat, whatever you call this, for the x plus 1. And then come down for the plus 4. Now you could put each one in by hand and do it that way. And then go into your table. And I'm just going to fill these in. 4.25, 9 halves, or 4.5. 5, 6, 8. And to the best of my ability, I'm going to plot those 5 points. You should make that curve shape. After we finish this one. So connect those points. Make sure you have arrows at the ends. If you look in your table, these get closer and closer to 4. It looks like it's going to 4, but remember it doesn't actually touch it. So this line should get really, really close to 4. Domain left to right, it keeps going in both directions, so all remembers. The range, where would that start? It keeps going up to infinity. Starts at 4. So the highest point is at 4. But it doesn't actually touch 4, so that should be parentheses. Or everything greater than 4. cross out asymptote too. I forgot that was there. We're not doing that. What's the y-intercept? Zero, 5. Questions on that? Other graphing questions before we move on? We're going to go a little bit out of order. The next page has some curve of best fit questions. There are more throughout it. These are just exponential ones. If you want an iPad to use Desmos for this, someone can open it. I can open it and then you can go grab it. Do we want to see either of those? We're going to skip the rest of that page because it's just graphing. We'll come back if you have questions and go to the solve quadratics by zeros, by factoring. Page 5. The page numbers are at the bottom. Are there any of those you want to see, do, go over, have questions about? So whatever the problem is, if it's not equal to 0, you have to make it equal to 0. I would say move the term so that your x squared is positive. So I'm going to move both terms to the left. So subtract them so that we have x squared plus x minus 72 equals 0. Once it's equal to 0, you factor it like normal. So just factor the left side. We're looking for two numbers that would multiply to be negative 72, but add or subtract to be 1. What are factors that would work? So my two factors, x minus 8, x plus 9 equals 0. I set both factors equal to 0. And then you would solve, or if it's just a x plus a x minus a number, it's always going to be the opposite. And you write your final answer in set notation in curly brackets. So the opposite of negative 8, positive 8, opposite of 9, negative 9. And those would be my two zeros. Now you could check this to make sure your zeros are accurate. After, in your calculator, after you solve it, you could put this, not the equal 0, just this part, in and see where does it cross the x-axis. But you have to find the rest of the work. You could also, if it's a whole number, find what the zeros are, write the opposites in factor form, and work backwards. Other questions? Lauren, can you open that door? On the next page is more curve of best fit. Do we have any questions there? After this page, we're going to stop. So then for the remainder of class, you could be working on 8-ball packet, JLabs, practice and leave, the answer keys on Canvas. You didn't grab a practice quiz for 9 or 10 and want to try that. I still have those. Come see me with